Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, nothing much.
Can I get you to introduce yourself with your race, your ethnicity, where you're from?
Hold on. All right, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. Race, ethnicity, where you're from?
I'm black. I'm in Texas.
Black in Texas. Do you have an ethnicity? Brother, do you have an ethnicity by any chance? Bueno.
City.
I might have some connection problems.
Yeah, no. I was taking my phone from thing. It was pushing up the Siri.
Oh, okay. All right, brother. Welcome to the panel. Do you wanna address the prompt?
Yeah, can a black American be a Pan African? No. What do you mean by that, Pan African?
Can he indulge in the Pan-African spirit and the livelihood and its ideology, the upliftment of all black people from the black diaspora?
Yeah.
Mainly the roots back to Africa, right?
No, they can't.
Okay, tell me why.
The reason why, okay, so when we speak of African, right? We're speaking of black people in general. When you say African, you pretty much saying black. The distinguish of black American and black African is that they are searching themselves and they will never find the solution because they are in denial.
Okay, okay. Can I have an example
In
of this
denial is,
of how a black American is in denial? Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, they are in denial of, they don't know where to go, backwards or forward. They don't know. They try to go forward, they get to find black Africans, and they have to fight them and go against them. They want to go backwards, they cannot too either, because they cannot speak the language of the Aboriginal.
Right, but what would you say to let's say the African American, right? The brothers and sisters that still have a connection to Africa, that want to learn their languages,
Right. So
that
it's few.
research.
So when you're in American soil, United States, right?
Hmm.
You're gonna discover two types of Black Americans. And I'm telling you, you're gonna discover two type of Black Americans. One is the one who is ignorant, is stuck on one spot, doesn't know how to go forward or go backwards, stuck completely. The other one is the one that knows the history, embrace the history, and there will be more of like, oh, look, while you're talking to me, I'm already in Africa. Talk to me, I'm in Africa. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
those two type of black people you will encounter in American soil. Now, if you want to detect them, it's so easy. It's so easy. It's so very easy. Just ask them, what do you think about black Africans? They're not going to acknowledge Africans are black, which is the dumbest thing. That's when you know they've lost even their souls. Does that make sense to you?
yeah, of
Like
course.
like you see me as black, but you still don't want me to be black. It's like I need to steal your identity. I need to make sure that you don't even know yourself. So, and when you say, okay, speak to me in your language, because I'm gonna speak English. English is not your language. Speak to me in your language. If you're Aboriginal or you're the first people, They don't know anything. But you see, you're living in American soil, and there's many people, Choctaw, whatever they are original. They speak their language. How is it that you cannot speak that language? If I was wanting to claim I'm the Aboriginal in American soil, you know what I would do? Very, 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 very easy. I could have taken my children, my great children, everybody, and teach them the Aboriginals languages in American soil.
Right, right. So
But
mhm.
you don't know the language. You just speak English, and you think you're the original. It's confusing.
Right, right. And I definitely understand what you're saying, and I do appreciate your insight to make a distinction between two different groups of Black Americans, or let's say African Americans, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Because this is another reason why they try to delineate from the terms like African American. They don't even want to be regarded as African, even though we have a subgroup that we can call African American, and it still attaches back to the slave trade, the Atlantic slave trade, and everything we know about what happened to Black people here in America. But again, this is where we have people that choose Black American to stand on those terms because it talks about their race and then it talks about their nationality. But they want to make it an ethnicity now. Same with the FBAs, right? And I have this conflict with them as well. They don't know how to pick one or the other. If they're going to be Black Americans, they have to understand that Black equates to being African. Even the term Negro, all these terms that were used against us, you know, that we now
Right.
have turned into an endearment and have uplifted ourselves with these labels given to us. But I mean, we know where they really come from. We know where they originate from. So yeah, with the people that say Black, Indigenous, or Aboriginal and Native, you know, we do have to give a shout out to the Afro Indigenous people, the people that are African that mixed with the indigenous people, you know,
Right.
and them not trying to erase what the Native Americans have
Yeah. Oh,
built,
and
you
then
know.
another thing is, all right. So I'm from Kenya. I'm in America. I'm black. All right.
Okay,
You
gotcha.
are you black?
Yeah, I'm a
Okay. So
Eritrean, and Eritrean and Mexican, half Mexican.
okay. Okay. So have you ever, you in America, right?
Yes.
Have you ever gone somewhere to the store, let's say for example to the store, and you see another, just like you just quiet and you're looking at black Americans, right? Have you ever seen them introduce themselves, hey, I'm black American, or I'm Louisiana American, or I am New York American? Have you ever seen that?
Well, you know, when we're talking about our nationalities, maybe, but when I see another
It's,
brother walking down the street and we look at each other, we give ourselves the universal head nod, you know?
right, yeah, but, right. Have you ever seen a black American introduce themselves, I'm black?
Yeah. Have I ever heard a Black American introduce himself as a Black American?
Yeah,
No,
I'm
not
black.
let alone an FBA. You
No,
know.
no, no. Right. So that's the reason why they don't understand why, when, because Africa has 54 continents, right? I mean countries, right? And America, US has 50 states. Okay, those states, they're bigger. They're each state is almost like a little bit bigger. I mean, closer to the countries in Africa. Does that make sense? It, does that make sense?
Their states are regular, like they're just the size as the countries in Africa. Is that what you're saying?
No, 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 not the size, but
Okay.
maybe carrying almost the same amount of,
Oh, amount of states and then
right,
countries
in
within the continent.
countries,
Okay.
right.
Okay. Okay.
So when you're coming from one of the countries in Africa, right, and someone hear your accent, right, and they're gonna ask you where you from, I'll say, hey, let's say I'm from Kenya, right? I'm from Kenya. They're not gonna say I'm black from Kenya. They're
Yeah,
not gonna say that
they're not gonna
because you
introduce
already
themselves or present
because you already
themselves.
seen them. They're black,
Right.
right? So they don't. You can see, your eyes supposed to see. So why do I need to tell you I'm black when I'm black? That it doesn't even make sense. You heard the accent, which accent doesn't say where I'm from. So you asking where I'm from, right? I'm gonna say I'm a Kenyan, right? But I'm black.
Yeah, it's without being even said, right? Because it's obvious.
Right. This is the sound and the vision that these guys they're confused about. So they don't understand that that's why they claim Africans are not black. You cannot say that. They're black automatic. Now, another thing I want you to keep in mind, look at the African continent. They are black people, right? Majority are black people, right? So that will tell you they're the original people in Africa, correct?
Correct.
Because they're the majority. Now, when you claim here in America that you're the majority, all right, how come you're 10% or
Right.
20% and you can't even speak the original language?
All multiples of 20. Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I never like to. I mean, I only like to throw that in people's faces that are xenophobic and say that English should be the only language they should know, and why are we speaking any? You know, if we're not speaking English, go back home. You know, that's when I rub it in their face about how English is a colonized
Universal.
language.
It's
You know.
a colonized
Yeah.
language, which is considered to be now almost like universal, like communicating wherever you go.
Right. Right.
But it doesn't mean it's a language that is cultural, tribal, or anything to do with anything. Anybody can speak English now, even the kids in Africa, they can speak English. English, like in Kenya, national languages are two, Swahili and English. So when you go to Kenya and you start speaking English, they're going to respond to you in English. But that's national languages. But there's tribes language that you cannot speak, you know, and it's 40 tribes. So imagine one country with 40 tribes.
Exactly.
40 tribes. So that's why English, they cannot claim that they speak English. English is their language. No, English is not a language. English is spellings. It is a European colonization language, and it cannot be a language. Choctaw. I met people from Alaska, and believe me, trust me. I this was my first time in America meeting people from original language, and they were speaking their language, and I was so excited. I am just quiet. I don't even know what to say because I just want them to speak their language because I've seen such things in the movies. And I'm like, I just want to hear them. Are they going to switch and maybe add some English into it? Or are they going to switch and start speaking English? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But these people, they spoke English, they spoke their language all throughout.
Yeah, I definitely understand, brother. Give me a second. I'm just at the store real quick. I'm gonna grab something, but you can keep talking. We got people listening.
Oh, okay. Okay. No,
And then
that's what the
yeah,
problem
go ahead.
is now, is that you cannot try to on one side, FBA is okay taking the blackness of African people. On the other side is stealing the ethnicity of the Aboriginal people. So you're in the middle. You don't know what to do with Africans, and you don't even know what to do with um the original people, from the Aboriginal people. You don't know what to do. So it's like a confusion, and that is gonna create themselves a division, and they're gonna get denied when shit goes down. When stuff starts going down, they're gonna be denied. Um, because the original people, they're gonna be like, no, 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 you deny this, We don't accept you. You attack this, you're trying to take our language, you can speak it. No, we don't know who you are. I don't know why you claim you're the original people. We are the original people. And Africans will be like, okay, you stay in one place because you try to say we're not black. We're black. And it's so a shame, it's so sad that an FBA will say you're not black. I'm like, okay.
It's disheartening, man. But you got to just understand that they're doing whatever's in their own best interest. So they're eating up all this current administration. You know, this xenophobia, this deportation. You know, anti-immigration kind of rhetoric. And they're only doing it so they don't get deported, so they don't get mixed in with an
Mixed
African.
in. Right. Right.
So they have to show their allegiance, you know?
Yeah.
And so they
So
have to become Uncle Toms, coons, and sellouts. Bootlickers.
puppets. They're the sellout. Like, man, I was looking at their channels and I was like, what are they talking about? What are they talking about? When this started with this administration about deportation and all that, they went all the way throughout the videos. All black people, black Americans, stay away from it, stay away from it, stay away from it. I'm like, y'all don't remember when a black American was hot and everybody came out all over the world? Okay, now you're coming. You can't. Now you're into like Africans. They're not black. They're not black. We are the black people. What are you talking about? I don't need to be told I'm not black. If a white is standing over there, they're gonna tell they can't tell the difference if I'm standing next to a black American and I'm black African. They cannot tell the difference.
Right. And then the ones that they can maybe tell is because you're mixed in, you know, you're mixed in with white people.
Yeah.
You got your triracials, you got your biracials, you know. And I hate that they never punch up. They always punch down on the people that look like them. They never punch down to the punch up at the white tea man, or they
Because
consider
they're now the puppets.
they consider biracial people black. You know what I mean? Half black, half white. So
So
if they can consider them black, but not an African from the continent, you know what is really going on in their head? And they're not attacking illegal Europeans. You know, the people that are not here legally, like they put it. You know, I don't really
yeah,
have anything against undocumented people, but these are the people that they claim that have come in, like black immigrants recently, right? Like the East Africans, and then before that, the Mexicans. You know, the
yeah.
hardworking Mexicans. But they think that they all came here to reap the benefits, you know, and some people got here on their own merit. Other people, like the Mexicans, were already here, you know. And so,
They keep claiming they built America, but you don't see anything. You don't see them around building America. You see Hispanics, they build in America. You see the white tea standing over there at the road cross. They building these bridges, this whatever they fixing stuff and all that. You don't see them. You will never see them. I don't see them. I drive every day. I don't see them. I don't see them fixing America.
well, the thing is, they have built America, you know, but then
No,
now
no,
they're
no.
economically capped. You know, it's not worth it for them to be paid, you know, those low wages to do the same kind of amount of work. So, but a lot of the boasting, a lot of the things of why they say, you know, they would never do it is because they already did it. Their ancestors already did it, right? And in one take, I feel like it's true. And the other, I feel like they use it as a kind of I got you moment, you know?
Yeah.
And so like we did everything, we built everything. And so they don't want to give credit to any immigrant, the Chinese, the Mexicans, the guys. That's why they got so mad at that one brother that had talked about how immigrants built this nation. But with that, we see Ngozi. What's up, Ngozi? Welcome to the panel. You wanna chime in?
What's up? What's up, guys?
What's up, sis?
Um, can a Black American be a Pan African? Uh, I mean, Black Americans are Pan Africans, right?
Right. I know we hear all kinds of different answers, but yeah, I would presume so.
If you are Black, then you are African. So, of course.
So why the big pushback? Why the big pushback from Black Americans looking at Pan African like the new enemy? Like all
That's
that cohesion
yeah.
and all that unity pisses them the fuck off.
I don't know. These people are ignorant. I think people have a misunderstanding of Pan Africanism. I'm sorry, I was choking. Hold on.
What you
People have
what,
a misunderstanding. Clearly, they don't. They don't understand what it means to be a Pan African. To be a Pan African is the betterment of Black people wherever you are in the world. So why would you not? Why would you not, as a Black American, be Pan African? That's just weird. You should definitely be Pan African.
So Ngozi, were you born here in America?
Yes, I'm African American.
Okay, so you see, host, you see, that's what I was telling you.
What?
Now, in the beginning, I was telling you, there are those ignorant that they don't read the history, they don't know where they're coming from, and there are those who don't know anything. So now now you see what I was saying, right?
Wait, what?
No,
Wait,
no,
wait,
no,
wait, wait.
no.
Wait,
I was
how is
telling,
it that he see what you saying by asking me that?
yeah,
What are
I
you
was
talking about?
saying. Okay, I was saying, this is what I was saying. I was saying when I came to America, I came to realize actually there was two type of Black Americans. The ones that knows the history and the ones they don't know the history. Like you know the history. So you when I meet you and we sit in a place and we start talking about history, you will more likely to give me a good vibe of history. Well, when you meet the other one, which is ignorant, they're gonna tell you, "Oh, you know what? I don't speak any other language, but I don't know. I don't like the Africans. Africans are not black people. Those ones." So I was telling him, there's two type of people when you there's two type of Black Americans if you pay attention. The ones that knows I don't need to introduce myself. I'm black. If I'm from Africa, I don't need to. And they're the one. They are ones that if you tell them I'm black, I'm from Africa. No, you're not black. No, you're not black. Okay, what do you want me? Okay, okay. So who's black? I'm black because I'm Black American. Just stupid dumb.
yeah, Ngozi, we were just having a conversation on how to distinguish between, the African American and let's say the Black American. But in any case, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Because if you say you're black, they tell you you're not. And when you're coming from the continent of Africa and you have a different way of presenting yourself, presenting your identity, it's not hyper focused on the skin color like America is. America's hyper focused on skin color, and that's how they present themselves. But I have noticed that in the continent of Africa, they present with their nationality, right, or their heritage, or their tribe. They don't present. I mean, it's obvious that you're black, but there are people even on the continent of Africa that are ignorant and that don't like their skin color, or don't like blackness, or when they come to America, they see Black Americans and they go, well, we're not like that, we're not black. So we do have to call out that on both sides, you know what I mean? But for the most part, when people present themselves, it's not because they don't love their skin color. They love their skin color. They just don't say I'm black, But once people are more conscious of it and they understand what black is, like within universal, and they understand the cultural identity of Black in America, they embrace it just as much as any Black American would.
I understand that. I understand that.
All right, we got a newcomer up in here. Oh, you left. What were you eating, Ngozi?
I'm eating crab.
Crabs?
Yeah, crab legs. Oh my
Damn,
god.
you living the high life.
I'm eating crab legs, bro. Some very expensive crab legs. But I love them. My kids love them. So today is Crab Leg Friday.
Nice, nice.
So, but I choked on one. I was trying to hurry up and eat before you called my name. But I'm good now.
Yeah, slow down. I ain't going nowhere.
Right.
Sounds to me like it's a little bit spicy.
Yeah, that's it. That was the reason. That was the issue. It's Raging Cajun. Like Raging
like-
Cajun season.
Yeah, you have someone in the panel.
Okay, Big back FBA. What's up, brother? Welcome to the panel. You want to answer the prompt?
Yeah, and I'm not FBA.
Oh, my bad. Big back Black America. My bad.
Can a Black American be Pan-African? So, a lot of people have a difference of opinion on what Pan-African is supposed to be. Ngozi gave her definition of what it means to Pan-African, but for me, Pan-African, from what I understood it was always supposed to be a movement, right? It was always supposed to be something that was strategic and was a way to make a shift in the social, cultural, economic, politics wherever we are as Black people. So when I hear people say Pan-African, from what I'm hearing, they're talking about an ideology, right? Having love for all Black people, right? Yeah, that's great, but Pan-Africanism is supposed to be strategic, like the civil rights movement. There was an economic plan to it, right? It wasn't just Black people loving each other, right? That's great. It was a strategic plan. And that's where I'm a little bit on the fence of, because what is the plan? What is the, love is great, but we need a plan. We need a strategic plan. And when you're Pan-African, what I've seen is that one is a lot of Black people in the diaspora do not like other Black people speaking on what goes on in their country. So I've seen Black Americans who don't really like Black immigrants to quote unquote infiltrate politics and dictate their own plight. I've seen continental Africans who don't like Black Americans giving their opinion on what's going on in Nigeria or what's going on in Sudan or Congo. So so I have a love for all Black people. I see them. I'm going to support them if I ever do travel outside the country. But when it comes to Pan-African, the actual movement, I never see a strategic plan on how that's actually going to work. That's the only thing that I just want to help on. People can help me understand where is whose issues do we prioritize, and
So, Big, the confusion today is that what the FBA is doing, and if you go to listening to them, it's like the more you listen to them, you come to understand actually it's not about the tone or the skin color. It's not about that more. It's more of speech. It's more of how do I sound. It's more of if I'm Black American and you don't sound like you're Black American, then you're not Black, which is so damn stupid. And they're confusing their own selves. They're confusing many of the people, because no African will ever, ever claim they're black. Never. I have never. I'm from Kenya, but I have never claimed I am black. Why? Because I'm already black. I cannot say I'm pink. It's you can see, so I don't have to tell you. I will only say I'm from Kenya. I'm a Kenyan. But I will never, ever, ever open my mouth and say I am black. Unless you tell me I am not. And I will say you're blind. So it is the speech, how you speak. If an African man says something with his accent, he's been considered by the FBA as you're not black. It's so dumb and racist. It's so dumb and big. I don't know how to. It's so like supremacy. It's like
Yes.
colonized
So
colonized type new colonization. It's like FBA wants to colonize our own skin tone, our own culture, our culture. They want to colonize that. They want to make us. It's like it's a movement of forget who you are. You not black. Oh, you who am I? It's like they're blind.
right, and
But
this
you
gets
know,
into another topic of how do
Yeah, but
we
big. Let me
how do we
let me answer your first question. I don't know if he answered it for you. Did he answer it?
no.
Okay, so you're talking about why I kind of forgot what you were talking about, but you said something about it was a plan, or Pan-African needs a plan. At first it was a strategic thing, but now we've lost what it was supposed to be meant for.
Right.
And when you asked that question, was it meant just for Black Americans, or was it also including Africans
That's what
under this Pan-African thing? Because a lot of Black Americans love to say that Pan-African started in America,
right,
you know,
but it was
and
for
it's kind of like a gotcha moment
but that's
for Black
not
Americans.
but okay, like being educated, Pan-Africanism was for all Black people of the diaspora. So that's where I'm coming from, because that's what it actually was. It was a movement of different Black people and different groups in the diaspora coming together for a movement, for a shift in the social, cultural, political, economics in America at the time. But it wasn't just supposed to benefit us. It was supposed to be branch out and benefit all Black people.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So with that, I would just say, well, obviously that there's plenty of different countries in Africa that practice Pan-Africanism and have anniversaries about it. This brother was showing us one in Ghana and some other regions where they do this kind of anniversary, even with all the tribal stuff going on within other independent countries and maybe some civil war going on. I think it's a good way of stepping back from that, especially people in the diaspora outside of the continent of Africa, and seeing the commonalities and similarities that they have to strengthen those ties, whether that's through religion or tribal or their heritage, whatever brings them together, whatever brings cohesiveness and negotiations. I think that's a big part of what's going on in the continent of Africa. And then for the people that are in the diaspora, you know, the Akadas, right, like they like to call, which are just Africans that have gone to the West, you know, they are able to think outside the box, you know, not being boots on the ground and having a kind of intellectual way of thinking strategically about their people back at home, you know. And not to say that it's all perfect and it's like it's but I feel like it is another way of you know, look at current affairs and look at what's happening in the world, because a lot of our stuff is censored. A lot of our news outlets are censored to specific narratives that warp those realities, the things that are happening back home. I mean, a lot of the things that, like, we're looking at Iran right now and what's happening there. You know, why is America, Israel in other people's business? You know, because they constantly have to be in other people's businesses to mess it up. Why can't America just stay in America and mind its own goddamn business? You know, but they're always out there venturing for resources and trying to be the big bully out there in the world. You know, that's the thing that that African people should be aware about, and Black Americans should be giving us the heads up if America wants to attack Nigeria and so on and so forth. But I'm rambling a
Rob,
bit
did
too
you
much right now.
see?
But
Did you
I
see?
hope I kind of got what.
Did you see China the other day flexing? China was flexing, brother. They were flexing. They were, you know, the bear. You know, when we say the bear. So the bear is. I'm gonna just say the bear and the dragon. That's gonna be China and Putin. Okay. I'm gonna say the bear and the dragon from this point going forward. The dragon is China. The bear is Russia. So the bear and the dragon, right? The dragon was flexing the other day. They brought out allegedly, all their military, all of their weapons, all of their nukes. They brought out all of their missiles. They were literally trying to, in my opinion, show the U.S., hey, I would say the eagle, because from this point, talking code, we're talking about the eagle being the U.S. So the dragon was trying to show the eagle, don't F with us, or don't F with our allies. Because they literally had like a parade, the dragon, and they were parading one particular thing, and that is their weapons and their military. They literally lined up their military, and it looked like everything that they have in stock, right? And it was some impressive, according to data, some very impressive weaponry. You understand?
Now,
So
Yeah, I gotta check it out.
now,
yeah, you got to check that out. Well,
now,
it's go ahead.
now, Ngozi.
Yeah.
Let's how can we call dragon and bear. Now let's give a name to Africa, that way we don't use
No,
that.
Africa already has a name, bro. It's the motherland all day.
Okay, cool. So now we have to see this, and honestly, if you go around TikTok about China, you're gonna see.
You say dragon.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. When you go to Dragon, you're gonna see Dragon has been accepted in the motherland to use
Yes.
the resources to build new infrastructures. Now,
You know, yeah.
now
Yeah, you're
the
right.
reason why I wanted to dig deeper about the dragons, why they did that, right? And I came to find out actually the dragons, they started about the dragons, why they did that, right? And I came to find out actually the dragons, they started claiming their ancestors, and they claimed that the motherland is where they came from. So
I
now,
don't think that's it.
huh?
I don't think that's it.
No.
You know, as far as like the out of motherland, out of Africa theory, the dragon, you know, there was an out of Asia theory, but you know, the dragon, I guess some of the, so they have taken DNA tests, and
It led them there.
they've done something to where now they agree that they come, you know, that they come from the motherland.
Correct.
Right. But
So
that's not why. That's not why, bro. Listen, I don't believe that in itself it's why that they are investing in the motherland. The reason that the dragon is investing in the motherland, or actually, it's not that the dragon is investing. It's Africa is allowing for that union because I'm sorry, The motherland is allowing for that union because number one, they never colonized. The dragon never colonized the motherland.
Correct.
You understand? So there's a different level of respect that the motherland has for the dragon.
For the
You
dragon.
understand?
Right.
And see, and as far as trade, right? There is a different type of trade that the dragon does. You know, other trade partners, you know, like the Eiffel Tower or the eagle, right? Remember what I said the eagle was, right? The eagle and the Eiffel Tower, you can pretty much figure out who that is. When they do trade, maybe not so much the eagle, but there are Western countries that when they do trade, trade is also connected to some level of dominance, colonization. But the dragon has never done so. The way that they trade with the motherland is the same way that they trade with the eagle. It's the same way that they trade with the bear. You understand? It is pure trade. They are pure about business, not about neocolonialism
Right. Right.
Yes,
or imperialism.
Right.
yes,
And that
I
makes
will say
sense. That makes
yes,
sense.
I will say the people of the dragon are very much about their money, very much about their
Right.
money.
But if Motherland or anyone from the Eagle decides to go to the Dragon, they're welcomed over there, and there's no much of you are this color or this that. There's nothing like that. So why are we in a situation where we have to have a new movement that has to distinguish? Because yeah, because today, as of today, I've been in the Eagle for 20 years. But if I have an opportunity to go and live, if from what I like the most, the design and everything, the vision and everything, I will go to the Dragon. I will not stay in the Eagle. That's my opinion.
You would live in the dragon, really?
I live in the Dragon because
Really?
yeah,
And
look
right
at the
now you
look at
live in the eagle country.
look at the yeah, I'm in the Eagle country, and the Eagle
Wow.
country is mistreating me by calling me names, by trying to colonize my skin tone, making me I am not who I am. Why can't I go where I know they're not gonna say anything about my skin tone? My own skin tone is telling me I'm not that skin tone. Does that make sense to you? They're trying to colonize me.
That's the only reason, though.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, you cannot. The worst person who can, who. Okay, do you understand? Back 20 years ago, when I came here, it was your skin tone that was the problem. Today, my own skin tone is making me skin tone feel uncomfortable. So it is a new racism that did not have to be.
What do you mean a new racism?
When black Americans, FBA tell you you're not black, it's a racism. Um, it's a supremacy. It's a
But how?
domination. Listen, it's a domination. It's you trying to dominate you. I'm not who I am. I'm not black.
So that okay? I mean, I was thinking,
We on the big screen.
you would want to move to the dragon.
Oh, somebody has some spices on the bowl.
Look at all this spice. This is what ate me up, bro. This is what made me like choke. Look, put me on the big screen. Put me on the big screen.
I will run away when you're eating crabs because I don't like the smell.
See, you see all the spice? I have 2 pounds, 4 pounds of crab. And look how spicy it is. 4 pounds of crab
You're
legs.
crazy. You're crazy.
4 pounds is it's spicy. That's what made me choke. He was right. He caught it. He said it must be spicy. You're right.
You from the South?
Yes, I am. I'm from Texas.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I'm from Texas, bro. The crab is much, bro. I swear.
I'm in Texas too, big. I'm in Texas too.
You're in Texas. Wow. Okay, cool.
I'm in Dallas.
I'm in Dallas. I live downtown.
Oh,
Well, yeah, I live in downtown.
all right. I
But
followed
I'll
you.
be leaving. I'll be going back to Nigeria. I'll be going back to Nigeria in May.
Okay, I followed you.
Yeah, follow me. I'm going back to Nigeria in May. I'm here for work. I'll be in Nigeria 2 months out of I'm sorry, 6 months out of a year. I'm in Nigeria. 6 months out of a year, I'm in the U.S. Yeah,
So,
but this crowd.
yeah, send some to me,
Like
Ngozi.
what?
Oh, I'm gonna send you my address. You ship me some of that, okay?
Okay, right. Whoa, it's so good. And let me tell you where I get it from. Since you're in Texas, who said they were in Texas?
I'm in Texas.
Okay, so let me tell you where I get it from.
You getting on a Greenville right there by the crab?
No.
Okay.
I go to Kroger
Okay.
and I got 4 pounds. Even though it was like 50 plus, it was almost $60. But then Kroger, they will steam it for you.
Oh.
So Kroger will steam it for you, and they have different seasons that you can
Requesting.
that you can use. You understand? So they steam it. It's the best place to get fresh crab and steamed is Kroger.
I'll be honest with you. I'm not a fan of crabs because of the smell, but I can take you out to eat crabs, and I'll be staying in my car, waiting for you.
Oh no, bro! Like I'm not a big crab eater either, but I do love the way that they steam it, though. I swear.
All right, Big Cut. What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say nothing.
But the dragon has. That is why it has advanced itself, right? Because business is business. It learned how to do business,
Right.
legitimate business. But see, colonizers, the West, the Eagle and other Western countries, they still think that you have to do this imperialist type of this neo-colonial type of trades, right? This unfair trades, right?
Yeah.
But the dragon on the motherland, you can fact check me. It has given African countries, like for one, in Nigeria, the dragon has done infrastructure projects in Nigeria. It has given Nigeria some of the lowest interest rates, compared to other Western countries. You understand?
But with our
Even
history,
Kenya, with
do you think that we have to be watchful of the dragon?
no,
I mean, you have to be.
you okay.
Go ahead.
So the Westerns, the Eagles, they trying to make sure that you are under them, you are controlled by them, and yes, they don't like it if you are independent. Like Kenya, they have the fastest train too because of the dragon. Business is business, like you said, Ngozi.
No, I think you do have to be watchful, mindful of anyone. You understand? It's just that, you know, I think that they coming into the trade agreement, it's a little bit different than other Western countries to start with.
Yes,
But you
and I
but you
agree
should
with
be
that.
mindful of all non motherland, non countries outside the motherland,
Yes,
right?
because I know you mentioned loans, and they give very low interest loans to countries in the motherland. Those loans eventually have to be paid back. So I'm just, I don't know too much about the Dragons' involvement, but I just, like I said, you have to be watchful of any country.
Yeah, you do. That's a fact.
Now,
That is a fact.
now I'm
You
gonna
do.
speak. I'm gonna speak of Kenya because that's where I'm coming from. All right, and I'm gonna tell you Big Buck. Big Buck. We know the black culture, Black American culture in Kenya because of this, and they made a lot. Trust me. Even if you see them, they're a poor country. They made a lot. Black Americans musicians made a lot of money in Kenya. Why? I'm gonna tell you. When a concert is happening in America, you don't go out and really make sure that it's supported. But when they traveled to Kenya or any other countries in Africa, it comes in groups, and people were well connected with we see the performance and everything, and this is what brought a lot of immigrants into the Eagles. I'm telling you, you have to dig and ask a lot of people who came here from Africa. Most of them, they're gonna tell you they like the Black Americans culture, but on this day when they form some form of disconnection, then it becomes where, okay, mind your own business. I'm already here. I don't need you to tell me anything that you want to tell me about where I'm coming from. They made money when I was still there. Alicia Keys has foundation in Mombasa, Kenya. I think Oprah Winfrey, whatever, she has school in South Africa. So many people have been, so many black communities, Black Americans, they've been in Africa. A lot of them. We're looking at just months ago, 2 months or 1 month ago, a kid, a young boy who went to almost 21 countries in Africa, and how he was invited over there, how he was treated over there. He was treated like a king, like a king. And I said, you know what? This is a message to most Black Americans to understand they are welcomed in Africa. They thought maybe when Africans are saying you are welcome, they're begging them. No, we're not begging you. There's a difference between begging you and tell you you're welcome to come here. We're not begging you to come here. What are you going to give us? We want to show you the freedom. We want to show you the music, the culture, the food, everything. We want to show you all that. We're not begging you to come to Africa. You want to go? You can go. You're free. We want to show you the freedom. Be free. Be free. We colonized. We were colonized. And we fought those colonizations. And now it's about rebuilding. But if you're going to distinguish yourself with me, I'll be like, hey, look, stay wherever you are, because on my vacation, I'm not even going to Paris or whatever. I'm going to Africa. I'm going to enjoy myself in Africa. That's where my vacation should be and will be. That's where I need to spend my vacation. They talking about Africa, Africa, Africa. Why don't you go to Google and do at least 20 or 30 best cities or countries in Africa to visit? Look at the infrastructure. Some people will ask questions like, what do you think where is this city located? Some says, oh, in Asia. Some says in America. Some says in this. Come to find out is in Africa. What is this city? Another one. So they don't do research. They think Africa is way behind and is not. When you combine the whole countries in Africa, they have big cities just like United States of America. Not America in general as a continent.
But host, did you want to explain what memorandum was? Because I didn't know what that was.
Right. It's funny because I'm reading another article about it from ADOS, and I'm just trying to get their position on it. But yeah, let me go back. So this was some kind of like COINTELPRO thing. Let me go back to the one I was reading before. Just to show you how there has already been people that try to divide Black Americans from African, from brothers and sisters from the continent. And this one is from. This is by a Chinese dude that wrote this one, but you can go look online. Go look it up. It's called the. I want to give you the right. The U.S. State Department. No. Okay, it's called the National Security Council Memorandum 46, and it's and it was used to undermine. They wanted to split Black Americans up from African Americans because, for one, they didn't want them to start trading amongst each other, and two, they were really aware that Black Americans could have an affinity to Black consciousness, like Black diaspora. I'm going to read a little bit of what this guy read here. And it was also the Muslim thing. So the Muslim countries in Africa, right? This stemmed from an old idea that the African American national minority renamed the political property of the United States and was to be exploited in the best interest of the country. The rationale behind the criminal act was stipulated by the modern demon Brzezinski, where he stated there are 25 million American Blacks whose roots are African and who consciously or subconsciously sympathizes with African nationalism. The living conditions of the Black population should also be taken into account. Immense advances in the field are accompanied by a long-lasting high rate of unemployment, especially among the young, and by poverty and dissatisfaction with government social welfare standards. These factors taken together may provide a basis for joint actions of a concrete nature by the African nationalist movement and the U.S. Black community. Basically, actions would take the form of demonstrations and public protests, but the likelihood of violence cannot be excluded. There would also be attempts to coordinate their political activity both locally and in international organizations. Inside the United States, these actions could include protest demonstrations against our policy towards South Africa, accompanied by demand for boycotting corporations and banks which maintain links with that country. Attempts to establish a permanent Black lobby in Congress, including activists, leftist, radical groups, and Black legislators. The reemergence of Pan-African ideals, resumption of protest marches recalling the days of Martin Luther King, renewal of extremist national idea of establishing an African republic or an American soil. Finally, leftist radical elements of the black community could resume extremist actions in the style of the Black Panther Party. Internationally, damage could be done to the United States by coordinated activity of African states designed to condemn U.S. policy toward South Africa and initiate discussions on the U.S. Racial issue of the United Nations, where the African representation constitutes a powerful bloc with about 1/3 of all the votes. So, just to show you how this is like during Jimmy Carter, who violated the U.S. Constitution by creating this. So this is a high alert about how they wanted to separate Black Americans from Pan-African thought or Africans in general on the continent. They have already have done what they needed to do, psychologically or whatever. They already were at the task of separating these people. So if you don't understand how this is all have come to be now, how we think about each other, like we just have to understand like the propaganda that's given to all of us, and how we
Yeah,
think about each other, from how we view Africa to how Africans view Black Americans, on the same. So that's what Memorandum 46 is. You go check it out. It's pretty interesting.
right. But do you see the damage it's done? If what you're reading is true, do you see the damage it's done?
Do I see what damage?
You just said that they were effectively trying to cause division between Pan Africans and was it other African Americans or right?
Black Americans, and
Right,
people of the continent. Yeah.
right.
Right. So this is these are American presidents making a memorandum to separate both groups, because if they were together, they would be hard to beat together. So that's why they had to start separating them. They didn't want them to take on
Yeah,
all the
we
things
know
that.
that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a threat to white tea people. It's not a threat to Black Americans or FBAs. But I understand now how the Black American thought or the FBA thought have come to evolve since then. So that's what I'm talking about, the propaganda that we eat up. And they have always had an assignment to split us up. So this is only part of it. That's
Yeah,
how I see it.
it's like divide. Who's gonna conquer you? I mean, if you and I, we get
Okay,
divided, who's gonna
but I
conquer
wanna I
us?
wanna I wanna I wanna debunk that. I wanna push back on that because this is what I think that we don't realize, right? Okay, so vibes. The thing here is that yes, they did want to split us up, but one thing that we are not understanding is that there is a thing called natural delineation. Natural delineation happens. So to say that we would be the only group that would never evolve or have this natural delineation, it has happened on the continent over and over and over again. Okay? The problem with African Americans, Black Americans, is that this natural delineation that we are going through is outside of our homeland, our origin. For example, the Bantu migration, right? The Bantu migration is a culture that split from from its origin culture, and then migrated and became different cultures and different ethnicities, right? The difference in the Bantu migration, though, is that it happened on the continent, as opposed to outside of the continent. And what that like FBA saying we're no longer these people, we're no longer African, we are new, we went through an ethnogenesis. Well, the Bantu migration is literally an ethnogenesis because it is literally the creation of new culture. But what we know, what the Bantu migration shows, or it literally debunks FBA, because even though the Bantu, they went through an ethnogenesis, their linguistics is built off of the mother tongue that they initially came from before they were Bantu, right? That is why they have similar linguistics. That is the literally the reason why they are Bantu. Bantu just means people, but the what makes them Bantu is that they have similarities in their linguistics. The reason they have similarities in their linguistics is because they started off as an origin. So just think of a mother having 5 children, and each one of those children, they have learned language, culture from their mother, but then they go and they migrate in different directions, all 5 children, and they build upon that set language and culture. And then later on, hundreds of years later, now it is realized that these children have similar languages because this is they built upon the language origin of their mother. Same thing with African Americans. We come from cultures, and we have built upon that in the United States, right? But what has happened is our ethnogenesis is being impacted by proximity to whiteness. That is different. You understand? Have that proximity to whiteness. I want you to look up natural delineation. The delineation that they think is not what exactly is happening. What is happening is that we are evolving in an area that we should not be evolving in. Do you understand? We are literally going through an ethnogenesis in a region that we should not be in. And that ethnogenesis is being impacted by American exceptionalism and proximity to whiteness. Do you guys understand? If you look up natural delineation, it is not what FBA is claiming. FBA is not claiming natural delineation. Natural delineation is something that is organic, something that happens naturally. And that is, it is like your like, as far as your ethnogenesis being influenced by your experiences. And what experiences influence our ethnogenesis is the errors we have gone through. Jim Crow, Reconstruction, all that. You understand?
Yeah, exactly.
Do anybody understand what I'm saying here?
Unnatural delineation, unnatural.
No, you said
The
what?
thing I hate about it,
A
Ngozi,
natural
is
delineation, but it is in an unnatural way about it because we were fast-tracked to a region that we would not typically be in. So let's just say, had this been on the continent, right? Like I said, the best example of this is the Bantu migration. That is an ethnogenesis, but it happened on the continent. It did not happen in a white nation. So there was no influence of that. You understand?
Right. And so that's what pisses me off, because these terms that are so already very common, that are now revamped by, let's say, Tariq Nasheed, and he adds his own definitions, or his own timeline of when these things started, when we know that these things, they don't happen within a couple hundred years or a few years, they happen in the thousands of years sometimes, right? Or maybe so, but the way that they have narrated this whole delineation and lineage and all the other vocabulary words that the FBAs love to use. Again, I agree that these are all unnatural ways of fast forwarding this process, which was not natural, which is unnatural. And so this is why it's so harmful. But on top of that, then we have stuff like Memorandum 46, and we have other powers that be that that influence this negative way that we come at each other, and with anti-immigration and all the other things that come along with it that people just jump on the bandwagon about. So this is where we see the xenophobia. This is where we see Black Americans, and we've always had them. We've always had the sellouts, the coons, the people that turn on us, But now it's in a political form. And so yeah, I like how you put that, Ngozi. Clinch, did you want to say
So,
something, brother? I
so
know we
le-
cut you off.
yeah,
So,
I'm about
so,
to say
so,
something and then I'm about to drive off.
mhm.
I'm about to drive off so I don't get banned. I'm gonna come back later. Now, I wanted to say this to all my Black Americans: don't divide yourself, because if we divide ourselves, we give them power to conquer us, and they've already created some things that you don't see. Like, let's say, for example, or they created a jail called Alcatraz in Florida. They reminding you of back then what they used to do, and now they want to conquer us by dividing us. And once that occurs, with your support, yeah, they might end up telling me, hey, go back to Kenya, go back to Africa. But do you think you're gonna be safe? Or do you think it's gonna be the same things that happened hundreds of years ago? So just give it a quick check
Clinch, did you get
first.
the violation, Clinch? Because I just saw it right now. Did you get the violation?
No. Let me get off because I turned off my car. Turn on my car. I turned on my car.
I got a hate speech violation. Just be careful, guys. I don't want to get you.
Speak. Really? Oh no.
I think it's because we said.
Let me leave. I'm gonna come back on my back up.
Well,
Because
if you didn't get it, because
no. But see, they be tripping. Like, I just got my account back, and I was on Mother's Live when I first got flagged, and her whole panel plus her, we all got flagged.
Yeah, it's weird.
So I'm gonna come back on my back up. Hold on.
All right,
I'll be right back.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna see if I get one more, I'll cut off too. But what's up, Big Red? You want to say something?
Hello. Yeah, I'd like to answer the prompt. Can a Black American be Pan African? Yeah. Like, that's not impossible. Like, it's not impossible for the people of the diaspora to support each other, whether they be from different countries or not. But I think the heart of the question and what you're really trying to ask is, should they be Pan African? Right, and it's like, for me, as like a Black American who's like a bit of an ethnicist, like, not really, because it's, and when I say that, right, it's not like we shouldn't support them or we shouldn't, want Africans in our nation. Like, I don't agree with that. Like, I think that's a bunch of, like, again, anti-Black malarkey. But in the sense of, right, which people group would face the brunt of this? And this is like the same thing that we saw in like the 60s and 70s, right, with like the Black Panthers and all this stuff. Like, when we organize, right, because we are in like the world's first and foremost nation, being America, we will always be the direct sort of shield, right, for these other groups. Because, yeah, they can kind of come into Africa and they can kind of tweak with your politics. But for the African peoples, right, be they Ghanaian, Nigerian, you name it, they are still safe thousands of miles away within their own nations, right? Their nations are essentially run by themselves, regardless of whatever, corruption or, influence that like they might have from other like Western countries. So we don't have that luxury, right? We don't have the luxury of having the shield. We are right here in the cage with the beast. And every time we've ever gone against the American government, they've come down and they've done their best to smash us and break us apart. Not just as like organizations, but as like individuals and people, and attacking our very families themselves. So, like, no, I don't think that that's the strategy that should be employed by my people anymore. Um, and the U.S. government has made it very clear that every time you're trying to employ that strategy, we're just going to flood your people with more drugs and more gang violence and more just, again, anti-intellectualism in the way that they're able to do it. And I think we need to start looking after ourselves before we go and look after the Africans. We have still yet to pick up the pieces from our last bout with the U.S. government, and the longer we continue to worry about everyone else but ourselves, right? Be it immigrants, illegal immigrants, even every other group in the world besides us that needs a plight, be they Palestinian, Mexican, Honduran, Venezuelan, you name it. The longer we continue just to stretch ourselves out and become more disparate and become weaker, because we have a massive amount of issues that we have to deal with right within our own community. So I think it's definitely, we're at a point of where we need to engage in a bit of isolationism and not xenophobia. Again, like, I really do not support the xenophobia that a lot of the FBAs engage in, right? I think it's perfectly fine for one to have pride in their culture, to have pride in who they are as like a person, right? And you should be able to like defend yourself. That goes for every group, be you black, white, Asian, whatever. But when it comes to these like vicious, almost racist attacks that I see, I'm like, I can never condone any of that.
First of
Yeah,
all,
all right, but
FBA
hold
is
on.
not having.
Let me address it first. Let me address it first.
Okay, go ahead.
So Big Red, I understand what you're saying, and I do want to talk about it in that the Black American group that can you mute up? Your background noise is kind of okay. The Black American community that you're talking about, I don't think all feels the same way, especially African Americans who have ties to Africa or have families by African immigrants, that have, just like African Americans or Black Americans that have got in bed with white tea people and created biracial people that you consider now Black as well, that you group in within the whole demographic of Black Americans. Now, one thing is, I think the government wouldn't allow Black Americans to just willy-nilly socialize. Well, not socialization. You're talking about more socialization and stuff like that, and I can kind of get it if you don't align with those people and you don't see how historically they've been aiding, but more than anything, the government or the YT people here have done more, I think, damage in that regard. And there hasn't been a problem with integration. Obviously, there's been a problem with integration, but there hasn't been a pushback from Black Americans to separate themselves long enough to cut them off as well. So I think it is a bit extreme, but I can understand your point of view. But I think this country had, like, I just read off Memorandum 46 and how there's already been an effort to separate these two groups, the Black American and African people, at it. So if they don't allow, if they're doing the propaganda and working as hard as they can to get that split between their when I say property, I mean their citizens. If they can convince them that they're separate than the African brothers and sisters on the continent, they have succeeded through sentiments like the ones that you have just talked about. And I know you're not, I know you're not meaning it in a malicious way or in a xenophobic way, but they literally have succeeded if they can convince someone. And I'm not talking about in your own merit, like where you need to rebuild yourself before you can fuck around with anybody else. But if you see the Americas fucks with other countries, America's the gatekeepers. They're the ones running shit. They're the ones allowing who gets in here and who doesn't, in their best interest, not in Black America's best interest, right? So again, fault the government, fault the YT for making all these people citizens and making them pass a test, talking about what, the 13 colonies and all the things it takes in that test to become a U.S. citizen. There's nothing in there about a Black American or Black American, African American achievements, history. There's nothing in there that the immigrant that's trying to be a naturalized citizen has to
learn about Black American history to become a U.S. citizen. So that's something that I think it should be in policy that they would have to learn to understand and to appreciate Black Americans here in America. That system's so rigged, and I think we all need to do better to confront this government and take it up with them. But go ahead, Nicholas.
Okay, so here's the thing, right? Um, I want to go back to something that was said, right? Because even though the memorandum exists, we cannot continue as the Black community hide behind this, this the way that the colonizers, the way that white supremacy, the hierarchy, this memorandum is to keep us divided, but at what point did our freedom fighters fall victim to said memorandum? You understand? That has been always something that has tried to divide. There's always been something, even since enslavement of our people, right? That is why they did not have tribes enslaved with, they separated the tribes. They divided the tribes. They're not going to have a whole tribe of Igbos on one plantation with, and a whole tribe of Yoruba on one plantation, or Akan or Ashanti. They separated. They amalgamated the tribes because that would be a language barrier for one, right? They would have to, they would not be able to communicate if they did a tribe from Ghana with a tribe from Sierra Leone and then a tribe from what we know today as Nigeria. So that separation has always been there. And we still was able to, with that said separation, free ourselves, our ancestors. They came together and realized that they had to unite in order to be free. Lincoln, the civil unrest that happened in the U.S. when the Union and the Confederacy, when they fought, they will tell you they fought over states' rights. They fought over states' rights to also keep their slaves, allegedly, right? So that amalgamation of tribes, they literally started to, according to history, allegedly burn down their plantations, unaligned their planters, their plantation owners. They started to flee. So they weakened the Confederacy because the Confederate Army allegedly was being funded by the plantation, the wealth of the plantation. When enslaved Africans realized this, they started to burn it down, and that caused a financial burden. So when Lincoln's army allegedly came into the regions, it was already weak, and it was easy to overtake. It was easy for Lincoln to overtake said region because some enslaved Africans joined the Union. They fled to the north, to Canada. Like I said, they did all those things. That's why we say they freed themselves. So let's go through the history. Let's go through quickly. There's always been a reason, they've always tried to do this. And when I say about the D-Rugs, yes, they did put that in our communities, but we didn't have to sell it. We did, knowingly and willingly. Yes, the government allegedly did that, TikTok, but did we have to sell it?
But you kind of, but it doesn't go hand in. But looking at the time period that they were in, even though this was right out after the civil rights movement, you do have to kind of be honest that it was a setup for failure because
No,
there
it wasn't,
wasn't
bro. Because
the same
how did
economic
our freedom fighters
opportunity.
not fail? Why? No. How come they did not fail?
Who?
Right? Those who liberated us. Why did they not fall victim? They knew they stayed the course, right? Pan-Africanism, the Black Empowerment Movement. You understand?
I'm talking about the D-Rugs.
I understand. That happened when? During what era?
The
Reagan.
70s and the 80s.
No, Reagan's era. Way
70s
before.
and the 80s.
No?
Right?
You think Reagan was the 70s and 80s?
Yeah, that's when it became a real problem.
Give me the computer, Bella. But what I am saying to you is that did we have to did we have to abide by it? Did we if they put it in our neighborhoods, did we have to allow it and uphold it? That's what I'm saying.
Well, it's
Did we have to
Two,
uphold it?
two things can be true
no,
at the
but it's
same
also like
time.
a
Two things can be
culmination of
true at the same
factors,
time.
right? Because it's like we also don't talk about like where a lot of these like addictions first started, particularly like within our own community. A lot of this comes from like the Korean and Vietnam wars that were going on during this time, right? So we had a lot of like people who had been engaging in like this use of like illicit substances, like come back from Korea and Vietnam, right, and then start using regularly, like within the society, within Black American society, because like these wars zapped the spirit out of a lot of people. Over 300,000 Black American soldiers went to go fight in Vietnam. I believe 8,000. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it's somewhere around 8,000 were unalived, like on the front lines during this war. It was a very negative experience for right a lot of these families, right, especially for a much smaller population. We're losing, 8 to 10,000 people. Really affects a lot of these communities, right? And so you have these GIs, they're using, they're in this very negative sort of like mindset because, well, number one, they're coming home to a very negative response from like the American public in general. A lot of them are being called, baby unalivers, and, they're also dealing with like kind of like the like fact that the Vietnamese and the Koreans presented to them of, hey, dude, like, you're fighting for someone who has been oppressing you for the last, what, 100, what, I think 120 years by that point, 140 years by that point. And so we have this like sort of disgruntled spirit within us, right? This restless spirit in a lot of like the young male population, a lot of the young female population, not only being left, partnerless by the wars and I guess sort of devastated, right, by these events and needing to take care of children. They run into these bad actors within our community, right? Because one thing that we as Black people don't do, right, we don't give ourselves the grace of understanding that we are people, and we as people can have people who aren't well for our society, who are not, for positivity within our own communities, and who will actually take advantage, right, of our own communities. And we have this expectation, which I think really comes back from slavery, and like this idea of collective punishment that we've been sort of like subjected to, and like this collective thought that we've been subjected to, right? We don't see ourselves as individuals. And so we are presented with this, oh, well, if one bad apple is in the barrel, then they're all bad, then we're all bad. And so these people whom are operating within our society, whom are, moving these illicit substances around, who are starting to get into pimping, right, who are presenting like this sort of lifestyle that is antithetical to society, and more importantly, making it look cool. And more importantly, having the media around that time make it look cool with a lot of these like black exploitation movies like Black Dynamite and I forget the name of the few others, but they're out there, and they built up this ethos, a very particular ethos about rejecting the American sort of way, right? Don't go be a soldier. Don't go work for the man. That's for people who get tricked, for stupid people, right? Come be your own man and be antisocial because, well, the society is essentially totally against us. So so we might as well just do everything to break it down, regardless of whether it hurts ourselves or not. And in that, right, in that sort of weird dichotomy of, well, if we can't, then we won't, and so we'll try and tear it all down. All we did was end up falling into their hands of, we're just going to stab ourselves in the leg, we're going to do these things to our community, hoping that it would have some negative effect on America, hoping that the government would see this and cry out and do something, but not understanding that this is kind of what they wanted. Because before that, right, before like we got to that point, because this is more of like the mid '70s, right? You need to go back just a few years earlier of the political thought that a lot of black people were engaging in, because a lot of it was communist, right? A real big reason why you even see the U.S. government coming down on black people is because of like the communist and socialist thought that they were engaging in, right? And the U.S. government during this time was in the Cold War. They were scared of communism. They wanted to fight against communism. That was their main prerogative, because of the Russians, the Cuban Missile Crisis, a lot of these things that instilled this sort of like red scare within like the black, not just the black community, but the American community in general. So they thought of it like this: it's either I can try and make peace with this population that I have done, well, just about every crime imaginable to, or I can cripple them forever and not have to worry about it. And any government, be they black, white, Asian, are always going to go with that latter option because they are trying to ensure their own survival, right, and the survival of their civilization. And so in that, right, in this, they ripped us apart and scattered us to the winds, right, and left, well, essentially a lot of, right, the black community in shambles. Now, yes, we are certainly complicit in it, right, but they also created the conditions for us to be complicit in it, for us to believe that being complicit in this was the right idea. And it is only now that we have a larger black middle class, that we have, right, the amenities that are able to make us comfortable within our society, and more of the generation of people like my parents were able to, sort of scapegoat the rack epidemic and make something of themselves, can now finally sit down and think about what has happened and analyze like what has been done to us. And from what we see, it's us engaging in this wider thought, engaging in these wider communities. Because look at who our leaders were: Malcolm X, socialist; Martin Luther King Jr., known communist. And even when we look at some of the Africans, Thomas Sankara, Patrice Lumumba, a lot of these people were engaging in this very, very, very pro-communist thought, and we're trying to attract more of the community to it. So what else are they going to
Okay.
do?
Okay, so let's go back, because you kind of touched on something, and you're talking about you said the Vietnam War, right? Which I agree with you to a certain extent, as far as street, let's say street candy, right?
Mhm.
The thing that people need to understand, let's what is that? That looks, bro,
Is that a pancake? Is that what?
that looks like a griddle.
Yeah. Is that an
Okay,
egg?
is that? I don't know
Is
what
that
that.
fried egg?
It's chicken. It's breaded
Oh,
chicken.
it's
I breaded. I
chicken.
smashed the
Chicken.
chicken
It's
down
That
chicken
and
looks
then
like
breast.
bread it.
no
Chicken
chicken I've ever
breast.
seen in my damn life.
Yeah, you see
Chicken
how
breast.
thin it is?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
chicken breast smashed, and then you bread it up.
That's good. So wait, Bill. Okay, so this is what I want to say. If we're gonna talk about history, I don't know why we always go in the middle of history. So if we want to talk about it, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the origin, because street candy, the two main ones, right? And that's gonna be the white one and the brown one, right? Both were already in the U.S. I'm gonna say according to data, according to what we know. But I'm also say allegedly for the sake of TikTok. But I can get my laptop and I can literally look this up. The brown and the white had been in the U.S. allegedly since the 1800s, long before Vietnam. You understand? Long before that, because in the 1800s, the brown and the white were medical. They were medical drugs. They were pharmaceutical drugs, right? Both of them, they were prescriptions. You understand? And in the 1800s, the brown and the white started off as a medication. Then it became that said medication was found. It went from the medical to the streets. You understand? So by the time of Vietnam, there was already allegedly a dependency, an addiction, a community that had already been, it had already been in the streets. It already changed from medical to street candy, and that is why they had they did the Harrison Narcotics Tax Act. The Harrison Narcotics Tax Act, it restricted, that's when it became illegal under the Harrison Narcotics Tax Act. Before the Harrison Narcotics Tax Act, that was in 1914. And before that, from the 1800s all the way to 1914, it was legal because it was medically used, right? When it went on the streets, they realized allegedly how addicting it was, right? Just like, do you not know? Like even even the one that's big right now, the one that's you know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
one that's allegedly coming from the South America.
Yeah, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Okay, I was on that when I had my surgery in the hospital. It is still being used as a medication. When they gave it to me in the hospital, when they told me like, I'm asking, what is this? And when they told me, I was like, what? And they was like, no, it's not like what's on the street, because you can't get a prescription for it, but you can be on it after major surgery, and they will give it to you as a pain medication in the hospital because they are going to monitor it, right? So, but it somehow left the medical realm, the medical environment. It left the pharmacy. It left the hospital, and it is on the streets. You understand? All these things were medications, right? So yeah, in Vietnam, but it is a fact that when they went to Vietnam, it was easy to get it, and it was there. And yes, soldiers did indulge, but it was already since the 1800s. It was already an issue in the U.S. before Vietnam.
Yeah,
You understand?
kind of right, but it's like we
No,
have to
I'm
understand
not.
like how
What do you
these
mean? I'm
things.
kind of no, sir.
Yeah, it was an issue, but we have to talk about like which communities it was an issue for, because it wasn't an issue for the
Okay.
black community during
Yes, it
like the
was. Yes, it was. Yes.
1914,
Yeah. Okay.
Harrison Act.
Before Vietnam, it was already in the black community before soldiers went to Vietnam, sir. It
No,
was.
it was not a major
It
issue in the black
was.
community. What was a
Okay, that's
major
not a
issue,
fact.
because first of all, the proliferation of like drugs throughout society, right? They don't come from the bottom up. They come from top down. Because this is a population that is mostly rural. They're not getting regular doctor access because, well, Medicare was not like a super widespread thing at the time, right? That act is more so to protect white people and what they were going through, because they had these addictions. These women that were staying at home were taking a lot of these things, right? Because they had the money to do so. We were going to, the locals for
Okay,
more rural type medicine, but not until these like more modern wars do you see
that's
like
not a
drugs in
fact.
the black
What
community
you're
become like a
saying
big
is not
thing.
a fact. What you're saying is not a
It is
fact
a fact.
because the brown had, maybe not the white, but the brown had been in metropolitan areas since the early 40s, right? Vietnam was not until the 60s. It had already been in places like New York, Chicago, and Detroit since the early 1940s, the brown. You understand? Since the early 1900s, it had been in the US, but in black communities since the early 1940s, probably even earlier than that. But where it was a mass use of it started in the 1940s, long before Vietnam. Long before Vietnam, I promise you that. In Detroit, Chicago, New York, metropolitan cities. Like,
Yeah,
listen,
metropolitan
even like,
cities,
hold
but
on. Even if
who are
you
these
look,
things
oh wait,
going to?
even if you wait, even if you go look at the movie Sinners, right? In the movie Sinners, when in the movie Sinners, the twins go up to uh
Chicago.
isn't that, wait a minute, is it the movie Sinners that I'm thinking about? Hold on. It is the movie Sinners, right? That they have the twins go up to Chicago, right? They go up to, isn't it Chicago that they go up to in the movie Sinners?
Yeah, here's the thing. Most of this stuff comes from the Italian mobsters,
No,
right?
bro.
Who were trying to
But
direct
I'm
this
telling you,
traffic
it
away
was
from
in
like
our
their own
communities.
community.
It was in our communities heavily.
Yeah, sure. It was on the fringes of our community,
No, that's
but in
not
no
a
way
fact.
was it a big
That is
issue
not
for
a
us.
fact.
That
It
is
was
a
not
fact.
no fringes of our community.
It was
It
on
was
the fringes of our
literally,
community.
it was literally in the black community from
Drug use was
instant.
not rampant
You
during
need
the
to stop
40s in the
that.
black
Yeah, like, why
community.
y'all just can't be honest about shit, bro?
What are you talking about? You have no way to substantiate that. I can
Yes, yes, you
substantiate
can.
my claim. You cannot do that
Okay,
with yours.
you're making it so like it doesn't help our plight to sit up here and pretend that this
Our
was
plight?
not. Which,
What is
yes.
our plight? You
Okay,
don't
so
share the same plight as me.
I'm saying as the black community, bro.
The black community, man. You are from.
Okay, so
I can't even. Yeah,
I'm from
you're
where?
from Igbo land. What?
Now you're going to
Like you
insult
guys don't
me.
share the same plight as us.
Okay, so now because I don't agree with you, you're going to insult me?
No, that's not an insult. That is a fact. We do
Okay,
not share the
like,
same plight. The
you
things
don't
that
know.
affect
You don't know where
your
I'm
community
from.
aren't
Where
the
I'm
same
from?
things that
Where?
affect my
Where am I
community.
from? Where am I from?
I would assume you're from Nigeria.
Okay, well, you will assume wrong.
But where are you from then?
Okay, would you think I would be saying our community if I was from Nigeria? Would I be saying that? I'm literally saying our community because I'm African American. I'm from Texas. Do you understand?
You were born and raised in Texas?
Oh my freaking God. You see, this is what I don't like about you ninjas. I swear. This is what I do not like about you ninjas. See, you think that I'm African and I don't know what I'm talking about. I am African American. I know exactly what I'm talking about. You understand? I don't say where I was born. I just told you I'm African American. If you know what it means to be African American ethnically, then you shouldn't be questioning nothing else, right? You do understand what it means to be African American ethnically, right?
Yes, I understand what it means.
Okay,
to be
what does that
African
mean?
American
What does that
ethnically.
mean? What does it mean?
It means you are part of my ethnic group. We are part of the same.
Yes, exactly. That's why I said our plight, because obviously you are African American, right?
Yes.
So that is why I said it doesn't help our plight because I am too African American. It doesn't help our plight to sit up here and be dishonest about the history, right? The brown was in our community, bro. Full throttle in our community since the 1940s. Since the 1940s, way before Vietnam. You understand? But yes, when soldiers went to Vietnam, they did, in Asia, allegedly, they did partake. It was more readily available or easily accessible in Vietnam. That is a fact. But what is also a fact is that we already had it in our communities. The white and the brown. The white was in our communities later, a bit later, but still before Vietnam. That is a fact. Okay? So we cannot. Now Reagan the Reagan era, right? The Reagan era did not happen until the 80s, right? Now the difference in what happened during the Reagan era is when it went from one form of street candy to another form, to the C form, the hard form, right? And that's when it became, I guess, more affordable for the black community. But the brown had already plagued the black community. It literally had already plagued the black community. Literally. You understand? So let's be clear about that. It was a movie that I watched. What movie was that? I don't know if it was Sinners. It was whatever movie it was, right? The guy
New
was
Jack
on.
City.
No, not New Jack City. It was the movie where the guy he was on that. He was on that. He had went up to the north. He had went up to the north and he was from the south. Him and his brother. He was the one that had his brother unalive. What was that movie? Dang, he had his brother unalive because his brother was the one. They went up to the north from they were Southern boys, and they went up to the north. His brother could sing. They both can sing, right? What was that movie? Oh my God! No, not American Gangster. It's a newer movie. Turn it down, Bella. The brother got hooked on street candy, and he got jealous of his brother, and he literally the girl was a mulatto, but she was passing as white tea. She married a white tea man. The girl was a mulatto. She married a white tea man. The man did not know she was a mulatto. He didn't know she was Negro, right? Her husband didn't know, but she had been sleeping with a black man. And when they found out, the brother told that the girl was sleeping with the black man, and they ended up. But that's because he was strung out. That movie, that era was in the 20s. That movie was from the 20s, the 30s. You understand? And he had went up into the north, into Chicago with his brother, and got
The Sinners. The Sinners.
It's not
The
Sinners. It's not Sinners. It's not Sinners. It's another movie. It's another movie where the girl was passing as white tea. It wasn't Sinners though. It's, oh my God, what's the name of that movie? But the timeline, the timeline. No, it's not Sinners. Damn. It's Frontier.
The timeline was in the 1920s.
The timeline was in the 1920s, and in the movie they was talking about addiction. I mean, the brother was addicted. He went up in the north. They went to Chicago, and the brother was addicted. Because remember, it was the movie, the brother, they did not want the brother because he was strung out. But the other brother was like, I'm not going to do it unless my brother, I'm not going to, because they was doing like they were doing like those ballrooms, you know, like those rooms that they used to have, like those,
Saloons.
you know, like
saloons.
saloon type, yeah, like where they had like, you know, where they had the performances, like the girls with the showgirls and up in Chicago they had this.
Oh yeah, the
And
ballrooms. The ballrooms.
like the ballrooms where people sat down at tables and it was like a show. You understand? A headliner. It was like a ballroom. So he was the singer. He was from the South, and he was a singer. And his brother with him, but his brother got strung out. So they sent his brother back home to the South. But the girl that he was with ended up with a white man. And the white man didn't know that she was black. So she ended up, the brother came back and did a concert for his mother. His mother had a juke joint. and she saw him, and they like made out, you know. So the brother went and told her husband that she was sleeping with a ninja, you know, and they came for him, and they low hung fruit him. Yeah, y'all don't
All
remember the name of
bad.
that movie?
All bad.
Yeah, all that. The movie is good. I just don't remember the name of it. It's a good movie though. But I'm telling you, the time frame of the movie was in the 20s and 30s. And they would say, and the dude was strung out. That's my point. The dude was strung out. You know, the movie was based on real events, like things that really happened in the South. You get what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying?
And then can you talk a little bit more about how even though the drugs were placed there, that we still have this, I guess you were kind of saying we got to take accountability of how we turn that into like a lifestyle
Right.
and in our music.
Right.
And like we got to take some accountability for how
We have to take
it was able to spread, you know?
Right. We have to take accountability, because the thing that we don't talk about, number one, like I said, is that it was already in our community before that Reagan era, right? We tend to, it's just that what happened, anybody can, I want you to debunk me on this. This was, I'm telling you, that these narcotics, right? These narcotics did not start off as narcotics. They later got banned in the United States after the government saw how addicting they were, right? In the 1800s is when both of these narcotics first or seen, you know, the narcotics or the origin of them would be in the medical field. Do you understand? These two, we're talking about the two main ones, the brown and the white. The main one for the Reagan era was the white, and the white changed its form and it goes into the black community, right? It goes into the black community as a different form, which is more economical than its regular form, this original form. And I'm talking about the difference in the soft and hard, right? So we can say hard. Hard is now in the black community because they found a way to rock it up according to the history, allegedly, according to the data, which made it more affordable, because the other form was not affordable to the average black person. But the brown was. The brown was affordable. And people were more black people, allegedly, were addicted to brown and not the soft, because they could not afford soft. Soft was a rich man's habit. You understand? Mm-hmm. But then they found out a way to make it affordable when they allegedly rocked it up. But what I am saying is that the accountability is that, first of all, these illegal substances was already plaguing the black community. Yes, they went to Vietnam, and like I said, they went to Vietnam and then they came back and they had these addictions. But the black community had already been plagued. So we had to, and this is before the Reagan era. You understand? So Reagan era is when it goes in change form, and it comes, and the street is flooded with this hard substance. But we did not have to do that. As black community, we were far removed from, we were now moving away from what we was fighting for, liberation. You understand? And the forming of this this era, this is the forming of the colors. You understand? The forming of the colors era, which that era started off as a positive thing. But then when this street candy got pumped into these neighborhoods, affordable street candy, right? Then these colors turn into something else. So we do have to take accountability. We cannot blame the government at all whatsoever. We cannot. But we still continue to do so. Right? Come on. How long are we going to... And the reason being that we cannot blame said government is because is this not still plaguing our community today?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's plaguing our community today. Is it still the government? Is it still the government? You understand? Now, what should have happened did not happen because these people, these street pharmacists, right? Hold on. These street pharmacists, what were they doing? Not everybody was a Frank Lucas. Not everybody was giving turkeys for Thanksgiving. Not everybody was, building schools. And, what were you doing with the money? The average street pharmacist had a wad of money in his pocket, and he was flexing for himself, for his woman or many women. You understand? He may have given his mother something if he didn't get her addicted. If he didn't addict his own family, his own mother, his own aunties and uncles. But there are street pharmacists who sold to their own mothers, own fathers. You didn't buy your mother a house. You sold to her. Did the government tell you to sell to your mother? Did the government tell you to sell to your uncle? I mean, come on. If they put it in the neighborhood, why did we kick it out the neighborhood? Why did we say no to the government? We should have blocked it from our neighborhood. But we didn't because our neighborhood was already plagued. Brown comes before white. So when do you think the brown came? Let's have some critical thinking here. If that did not happen until the 80s, you think that there was no street candy until the 80s? So we wasn't doing anything. We had neighborhoods like Mr. Rogers' neighborhoods up until the 80s. All our neighborhoods was like Sesame Street up until the 80s. Is that what you're saying? I mean, like they say, the Reagan era was the 80s. So you're saying that we were Christians, church going, Sesame Street environment neighborhoods, like Mr. Rogers, where everybody wearing cardigans and so there was no issue. There was no issue in the 1900s until 1980. So 1910, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, not until 1980 that street candy plagued our neighborhoods. Are y'all okay? So when did the brown come? Because the white... Okay, but they don't ever say it like that. They say that the Reagan era, allegedly the government put this in our neighborhoods. Well, what was that? They put it in the neighborhood in the 80s. So what came before the 80s? It was the brown. I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm.
Because when they talk about the Reagan, they're talking about the right and it being hard rocked up. So when did the brown come into the neighborhood then? Can anybody tell me that? So it's propaganda, bro. It is just like how
Hmm.
the propaganda when they say that Africans that they that you know when they say well we
The,
was showed that Africa, you know, the infomercials. That damn infomercial that you saw when you was 8 years old is not why you are FBA today. Ninja really did, like
the
you was
kids
a
with the bloated stomachs. The kids with
yeah,
the
yeah,
bloated
yeah. Like, do
stomachs and
you
the
really
fruit
think?
flies.
Okay, do you know how old they were when when that stuff came out? Was like when the early '90s, right?
Hmm.
Some of these FBA were born in the '90s. You probably didn't even see it. You probably was maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 when those commercials came out, and you cannot make me think that your 5-year-old self saw that commercial, and then today you are xenophobic, Afrophobic, because that's what's planted in your head. Like, you know, when they say they taught us to
No,
hate
it's
Africa.
those made up scenarios of what that one African kid did to them or say to them or what those African parents thought about them. You know,
Even that is a fallacy, bro. The African parents,
that's what I'm
African,
saying. That's what I'm saying.
yeah, it's we need to deconstruct from the lies, and this is what I hate about. We can sit on here all day and say, well, yeah, it's because they taught us that Africa was this, and then Africa's gonna say, well, yeah, they told us that African Americans to stay away. Y'all both are lying. They are lying.
Yeah, they're repeated
My
anecdotes
husband
and
went through the
narratives.
process. My husband went through the process. He's Nigerian. He got his visa. For he came to the U.S. on a student visa. Turn it down, Bella. He came to U.S. on a student visa. He did not see a video at all whatsoever depicting African Americans in a bad light. He didn't watch a video at all. There was no video, none. No video saying stay away from African Americans. No video depicting African Americans in a bad light. And he's a Nigerian. Okay? So he did not see this said video. No video depicting African Americans in a bad light. Where is this said video? It wasn't a video. It was never a video in the government. In what do you call it? In um immigration. You know, there was no video. This is maybe in social media. Maybe in social media this spread. You get what I'm saying? Maybe in social media. That's enough. I'll give you some more later. My daughter then ate
Yeah, it
almost
has to
finally.
be. It has to be.
It's not a real thing, bro. This is like, listen, let me tell you one thing that we do as a people that we need to stop. We take propaganda and we run with it, and you can tell that it's propaganda. You can tell it's not a real thing because we regurgitate it and everybody say it the same way. You know what I'm saying? That they told us to hate that you know that black Americans were lazy, that black Americans were thugs allegedly. Nobody taught you that. You saw that on social media, somebody saying that was said, and now everybody is just regurgitating it. Just like that one um that that we was talking about with the kids, right? That charity with the kids. $1 will feed a child for 30 days or whatever, you know. When I was a kid, I saw that. I did not know what I saw. I didn't know. I couldn't comprehend what that was.
Oh
You
my
understand?
god, hello.
Okay.
Iedere
Is this a kid?
Oh no. Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the panel. Can I get you to introduce
Are
yourself
you
with your?
talking about Israel?
No, we're not talking about Israel.
About what then?
We're talking about the prompt. You want to speak on the prompt? You want to introduce yourself?
fish. Can you? Yeah. Okay. Talk. I'm hearing, like, listening.
How old are you?
I'm 18. I got 18.
This is a
And you?
21 and older. 21 and older
Yeah, I need to be
conversation.
21. You 18 year old. You 18 years old. You're the new 15. 18 is 15. So no 18, 21 and old. Hell no. But do you get what I'm saying? Like, all this is like us.
Yeah, I hear
We
you.
don't know how to. What it is, the truth of the matter is this: we don't know how to explain xenophobia on both sides. So we're going to say this is what we were taught. Both sides are saying this, and both sides are wrong. Period. No one was taught this because, to be honest, when I grew up, even my family would say, you cannot hang out with those kids down the street. Those kids are bad. You know, those kids were the kids that would be outside past dark. We used to have to be in the house before the street light came on. You understand? So we could not, me as a girl, I've never when I was in school, like K through 12, I never was allowed to stay at no one's house. I never had a sleepover because my mom would always say, no, they got uncles. She got a brother. She have an uncle. She have a dad. You cannot stay the night. I swear. That's how
That's the same.
That's how
That's
black
the same in the
families.
Mexican community. It's so
You
crazy
see what I'm
to say
saying?
that.
Like, you cannot stay the night at nobody's. If I had friends, like female friends, you understand? I was a cheerleader, and cheerleaders always would stay the night over each other's houses, right? But I was not allowed ever to stay the night, to have a
They would say,
sleepover.
"Uno nunca sabe." Like, no, you never know. You know, you never know
Right.
what the
My
family is
mom,
like.
my mom, my grandmother. My grandmother would always say, my mother would always say, no, they have brothers, they have a dad, they have an uncle. No. And so what is the difference of that in African, telling their children what they tell their children? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, and most of these are all anecdotals too that they just get circulated and recycled. Like someone will say that they had this bad experience with a African, and then they will just recreate the same scenarios. You know, because we hear them a lot. We hear them a lot, and we know that these don't come from everybody, especially the ones that say they never grew up with Africans, but have so many situations where they had bad experience with Africans. So I mean, most
But
of
you
it
know
is
what?
here. Most of it is here on TikTok where we set these kind of panels up where we're ready for confrontation. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm saying this for the younger generation that always come out with these lies.
Because the average Black American, the average African American, if we be honest here, the average African American through high school, K through 12, probably never even experienced going to school with an African. I'm telling you, they never experienced, the average African American, in my opinion, never experienced going to school with an African because there are only 2 million
Right.
Africans. 2 million Africans. I'm talking about the adults and the children. 2 million Africans in the United States and 40 million African Americans. Those 2 million Africans, if you spread them throughout those, it's certain communities where you're going to see these hubs of where Africans live. You understand?
Diverse people are, yeah.
Like in Atlanta, like in Texas, in Houston. You understand?
LA.
Yeah, these hubs, right? So that's only in certain demographics, certain regions, and that's where you're going to see the influx of Africans. The average African American does not even encounter an African until they go to college, probably.
Right.
Until they go to college. And by the time you go to college, bro, right, you are a college student. This should not be a thing, because not only are you there, it is it is mixed. It's white people, Hispanics. You understand? It's a amalgamation of different cultures,
Yeah, it's
different
diverse. Hmm.
different races, ethnicities. So you cannot make me believe and you can't. I just don't believe this. It's just not a thing. That you cannot. We can, like, people are making this shit up, bro.
Hmm. It's almost like when the YT people, when they had so much negative things to say about Black Americans, but they lived in their secluded, separate towns, and they had sundown towns, but they had so much hate towards a group they never lived with, like before
They never
integration.
even
You know what I
lived with
mean?
them. Never seen a Black American before, or these sundown towns. Like, it was literally separate the segregation, so the average white person didn't even go to school. And don't you know, like, where I'm from in Texas? Okay, so there's no more segregation, right? But my hometown is predominantly the school is predominantly Black. The white kids have left the school, bro. They are now in smaller towns where they go to school, where it's mostly white. You understand? Like
White flight.
the town that I'm from is big enough. It used to be, when I went to school, like when my mom went to school, there was a mix of all races. But the white kids have left and went to more rural schools outside of that school. And it is predominantly
Right.
white. So the
Hmm.
Black kids are the only ones left in the school that's in the town. You understand?
Yeah.
So I
This is
swear,
Texas.
in Texas, yes. So where I'm from, it's a big town, and it was many races. We only had one high school. That's how small we are. But the white kids, and this is what their reasons for. The reasons for them leaving is because the school was underperforming the high school and all the schools, junior high, middle school, high school, at every level, they were underperforming with they call it the test you got to take to graduate.
STDs. I mean, not
The
STDs.
the top.
STD. I know what you're talking about.
It's the test that you have to take before you can graduate high school. The TAPS
Yeah.
test or
Yeah.
TAS test.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not talking about the SAT or the ACT. I'm not talking about the test to go to college. I'm talking about the test
Okay.
that you have to take in high school. In
Oh, the new
Texas,
one. The new one. This one you had to take before. Oh no! Wait. You're talking about back in the day, though. So I don't know.
no, they still have it today. They still have it
'Cause
today. Like in Texas, you still gotta pass the state exam to graduate high school.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the TAS test. They may have changed the name, but it
Right.
is an
They
exit
didn't.
test. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
How,
No, I
how
was
old are
just gonna
you?
say I'm 38, but in high school, we were 1 year behind before they started to implement that at our high school. So we just got
Okay.
by not taking it. Yeah,
And what
I
grade?
remember that.
What
I
state are
was in
you? What state?
05 when I graduated high school.
And what state are you from?
I'm from California.
Okay, see, California might not have had it. You're right.
Yeah, but they did
California may have
implement
had
it.
it
They did
late.
implement it later on. I know that. That's why I was saying. That's why I remember
But in
that.
Texas, we've had it since. Oh my
That
God!
makes
Like
sense.
in Texas, we've had it since before. Probably in the early '90s is when it came, or the late, maybe in the '90s or '80s, in the '80s, and it's still that way today. So
Yeah.
to graduate junior high school, to graduate 8th grade, to go to high school, you have to pass the test. To graduate high school, you have to pass the test. Because let's say if a senior or someone in 12th grade, if they don't pass the test, because they take the test during the school year, but let's say they don't pass by the time of graduation, they will let them walk, but over the summer, they will have to go to summer school and retest until they
Right.
pass. But so when
Gotcha.
they'll let them walk, they'll let them let them, walk with their
Yeah.
class, but they won't get their diploma officially until they take it. And they'll take it.
Yeah.
See, it didn't used to be that way. It used to be they didn't even let them walk. But now they try not to
Hold
they
them
try
back
not
like
to
that.
hold them
Yeah.
back like that. They try to at least it because all they need to do is like they passed all their grades, but they didn't pass that freaking
Mm-hmm.
test. You could have got straight A's, but you didn't pass the test. So now they do it differently where they'll just have you go to summer school and you'll just go to summer school just for the test, just to
Yeah, it was
pass
called
the test.
the SAT test, SAT, the
Right.
SAT,
Well, I don't know what it was
or
called
the ACT.
in
There's two different ones here.
no, those are the ones to get you to go to for the
College.
college
You're
acceptance.
saying this is the one
This
from middle school to high school?
Yes.
Okay, that's different. Yeah, we
Look
didn't
it
even
up. Look
have
it
that.
up.
Okay,
Look it up.
let
What
me look
is
it
the
up.
test? Look the test that you have to pass from middle school to high school to graduate in Texas. To graduate middle school to high school. It's called the TOS test. It's not the college test. See, some states don't even have this test. They
Yeah,
don't even have it. But Texas does. It's a
yeah, it's
way.
called the STAR test. Yeah,
Star test.
STAAR.
Star test. See, it used to be called TAS test, Star. It's changed names many times, but it's the
Mm-hmm.
Star test. Exactly.
In the
The
reading,
Star
you had to do a
test.
reading language arts as well.
Right.
RLA. Mm-hmm.
And the STARS test, what it is, Vibe, is that in K through 12, from 8th grade, in order to go to high school, it starts at 4th grade, 8th grade, and then high school every 4 years. So the 4th graders have to take it to pass. The 8th graders have to take it to go to high school. The high school kids in 12th grade, you have to pass the STARS test in order to get your high school diploma. In order to graduate, you have to pass the STARS test, right? If you don't pass it in the 12th grade, let's say you are a straight A student, but you failed the test, they will allow you to walk with your graduating class, but your diploma will be blank. You won't get a real one until you pass the test. So you'll have to go to summer school and until you pass it. And most kids, they pass it in summer school because the only focus is that the teacher in summer school is preparing them to pass the test. The focus is the test. By the time they go to 4 weeks of summer school, then they
Mm-hmm.
retest, and then they end up passing.
Yeah, because tests are like you got to learn how to read a test, how to read a word
Right.
question, and a lot of the students, especially at that young
A lot
age,
of African
we don't have
Americans.
private tutors, we don't have all that take the time to actually explain that.
Right, and the thing is that it's African American community. It's known, at least in Texas, that there is tests or can also be a bit systemic, allegedly. You understand? African
Yeah,
Americans
just like
don't test
IQ,
well. Right,
Mhm.
they don't test well, and it's literally because of the things like some students or some of these rich schools, allegedly TikTok, they have better curriculum, they have better access to education, like rich schools have laptops that the kids take home, but inner city kids in black neighborhoods don't get laptops. You understand?
Right, exactly.
Rich kids have better curriculum, better history books, better math books, whatever. In the inner city kids, the books are old books. You understand? They have the budget is different, so they don't have the same level
Resources, yeah.
of resources. Exactly. You understand? So they said those richer schools, the kids, their curriculum is going to be based off of these testings. Like they set these kids up to where it's easy for them to pass set tests. But in the inner cities, like the in black neighborhoods, it's very difficult. The curriculum is very different. You understand? So yeah, the STARS test is what it is. So it's sad that we still have STARS tests in Texas, and not every state has this requirement for K through 12.
Yeah, facts.
For long, Texas have been trying to do away with it. They
Yeah, I
have.
know. I mean, especially for the middle school to high school, that does seem a bit of a stretch, you know. But I guess.
I think the younger kids is wrong for the younger kids. Like
Mm-hmm.
for eighth grade students, you got to pass it in order to go to high school, right? But the point is that if California doesn't have it, then why does Texas have it?
Right, exactly.
And where you see it, Ryan, is in red states.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that.
You see this type of test in red states. It is something it is literally to disenfranchise black students, black
Mm-hmm.
American students. Like seriously, I'm serious. Like you don't see this in blue states as much as in red states. I'm telling you.
Nope. And back to the school to prison pipeline, you know, Jim
Through the
Crow,
prison pipeline,
another
bro.
name for
Yeah.
Jim Crow, you know, or Jim Crow by another name, like for Michelle. I remember that book. She talked about all that.
Who? Michelle Obama.
No, I forget her last name, but she wrote the book, Jim Crow by another
Who?
name. Let me look her up just so I can be factual
Oh,
with
she's
it.
on. I never knew of the book. I mean, is she the one who coined the term "school to prison pipeline"?
No, I don't think so. Oh, it is Michelle. No, it can't be Michelle Obama. Hell no. Michelle. Let me just write the name of the book. Jim Crow by another name, I believe it is. She talks about the 13th Amendment a lot. She talks about how it was, created and how it disfranchised black people because it re-enslaved us. Yeah, it's Jim Crow by another name, and it's by, what's her name? Author name. Michelle Alexandria.
Is she white or black?
No, she's black. She argues that American
Okay.
criminal justice system functions as a contemporary system of racial control, acting as a new Jim Crow by relegating millions to the permanent second-class status. She's a civil rights lawyer and advocate.
Ah.
Yeah.
But
Jim
let
Crow
me
by another name. Here, I'll put it in the big
but let me say this, vibe. Like, this is why I say that we have to take accountability, because do you not know I've been on TikTok for so long. I've been on TikTok now maybe 3 years now, four, I would say. Okay, the new Jim Crow.
Right, I had the name all wrong.
I'm gonna have to get this.
Yeah, we had to read it.
I love
We
books.
had to
I'm
read
gonna have
it
to
in
get
college.
this.
Mhm.
But do you not know that? Okay, what I see now is not the way it was. Not like this 4 or 5 years ago. You understand? In the last 4 or 5 years, something has happened, right? And I don't know if it's the rise of certain separatist groups like FBA, but the way by which on TikTok right now, how black people are cheering that Jasmine Crockett did not win is crazy. It is literally like you ninjas out here saying you are cheering, you are happy, you are happy that a black women, some of you black women out here cheering. Thank God Jasmine Crockett didn't win. You saying goodbye, hood rats, all that. But the person who won is white tea. Like,
Yeah, this all confuses
like,
Democrats.
what in the hell? Like, I want to understand my people. Like, but then we will say what white tea people are doing to us. What about what we are doing to ourselves? That's what I was saying, right? Like, we cannot blame white people. If you just put in Jasmine Crockett, you will see more rhetoric against her than for her. And it is coming from us. It is literally coming from us. It's literally saying we don't need no hood. This is what she get. The Democrats need to find somebody better. That's what they get type rhetoric.
And it goes, we just have to remind ourselves it is a small, even though it's quick to spread if we don't unless we know where we stand on the side of the history, you know, but it is a small percentage that it just hurts more because it is our own people, you know, but it is still a small percentage that the small loud minority, you feel me?
Bro, she didn't even carry her own fucking base. Her own fucking base. She didn't carry her home base was Dallas, Texas.
Home base. Oh, really? I didn't.
Dallas, Texas. Dallas, Texas is it's not predominantly black, but we have a large black population in Dallas, Texas. Jasmine Crockett's home base is Dallas, Texas, right? She lost the election by, I think, a little under 100,000 votes. 100,000 votes. There are over 1 million registered voters. What is this? Again?
Yeah. Let me end it.
You need to reset.